Hello mate, you alright? Good morning. Doing much yesterday or what? Let me know in the comments. Sunday. A quieter day, perhaps. Either way, off on my walk, off to the gym. Physio cleared me yesterday to do a little bit of running, even though I did a little bit of running last week when I wasn't cleared, but cleared to do a little bit of running today, so 30 minutes mobility for me. And then in my head I'm thinking 3k, but at the back of my head I'm thinking do 5. So we'll see which part of my head wins and how I feel. And it was funny actually, because the rule is for running, do no more than 10% every week. But if you've been doing nothing, how do you go from nothing to anything? Because 10% on top of nothing is still nothing. So you have to pick you can't just pick a marathon, right? That's crazy, isn't it? But if you do 1 or 2k, doing 1.1k is mental. So what he said was, increase the distance, go from 2 to 3 to 4, maybe even up to 5, but just make sure the pace is like ridiculously slow. So that's what I'll be doing. Now, the news that we are talking about today, got some news, got some questions from you guys, so stick around for the questions and we'll get to those. The news, 2 bits of news. First one, probably not surprised because you've seen this one everywhere. The second one I woke up to this morning, so I might actually be breaking some news for you. First one, André Onana to Trabzonspor. That's, I guess, been on the cards. We've only known about this for like a week or so, but I guess that's been on the cards since he went and knocked on Amarin's door and was like, hey, can I have a pay rise? Now, the swiftness at which and the ruthlessness at which that has been dealt with, I think does hark back to the fact that Amarim has got the authority for managing this team in his own image, for doing the things that are required to be done. That the board are not interfering with the very important things of like discipline and things like that. They're allowing the manager to impart that sort of stuff, to get rid of the bad eggs that he doesn't want at the club anymore, and the positive effect that that's going to have, hopefully, down the line. So, Onana on loan, makes sense. Clearly couldn't find a buyer for him towards the end of that window. We only managed to get Sandlerman in like literally a few days ago, so it does beg the question though, who's going to be number one? If it's going to be Sandlerman or if it's going to be Bayindir? And at what point does that switch over if they just decide to go with Bayindir against City? Because, I was looking into some of the stats last week. 144 shots faced by Onana, and 132 shots faced by Onana, 44 goals conceded. Bayindir was 20 shots, 12 conceded. So a 67% save rate for Onana and a 40% save rate for Bayindir. Don't tell me he's a better keeper. He ain't a better keeper. Now, Sandlerman had one of the highest save percentages on earth last season. Saved the most number of shots last season. Let's hope he brings a little bit of an improvement in that. The only question is, when does he get to do it? Does he get to do it against City? Hell of a baptism of fire. Might be too soon. Might just be easier to go with Bayindir for other reasons, and then introduce Sandlerman the week after. But isn't the week after? I think the week after is Chelsea, isn't it? Not exactly an easier game. And then the other bit of news is Marcus Rashford. What's going on with Marcus Rashford? Well, Barcelona aren't having him. I'll get the exact wording up from them. What are they actually saying? They are saying he is shy, imprecise and lost. And they're discussing ending his loan, which requires them paying $4.5 million to United to do so. and sending him back. If that happens, knowing that Aston Villa had the chance to sign him and they decided to take Jadon Sancho on loan instead of you, knowing that, which there might have been PSR reasons for that, it might not have been the only reason, let's be fair. But Aston Villa would rather take a risk on Sancho and his associated wages than bring you back, because you went on loan. You could have gone on loan to Villa again, I guess. And then Barcelona, which is your get out, which is your change of pace, your change of direction, a different environment, a fresh start. If you've gone out there and you've done that, and they are 3 games in, by the way, 3 games in, they're going, get rid of this widge. I think, Marcus, I think you need to have a look in the mirror and go, right, what am I doing? What am I not doing? And like I was saying the other day about what's Cobby needs to do. Can he look himself in the mirror and say, listen, I'm first in the building, I'm last out of the building, I'm doing everything I can, whether it's diet, whether it's physio, whatever. I mean, have I maxed out my opportunities here? And if I've not, well, then I can't complain about anyone or anything else, can I? That's my opinion on that. Okay, I did ask for some questions on the old Instagram. Let's see what y'all are saying on Instagram. Emir says, can Rio get Khabib on the pod? I believe so, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's been discussed about happening. Sydney Food says, Rashford coming back to United, not sure if the rumours are true. Obviously nothing's been enacted yet, and I guess even if they give him the bullet today, he's not registered to play for United. So he would only be able to be re-registered come the January transfer window. So he either fixes it up at Barcelona or they cancel their contract with him and he either stays in Barcelona and just suns it up for a few months, or he comes back to Manchester, treats it like a Rocky montage, somehow manages to force his way back in and makes it the most Hollywood comeback ever. Which is more likely? Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. What camera do I use for filming on my walks? Is a DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and it's absolutely class. I am thinking of buying a second one, just on the off chance this one breaks, because, I mean, I've got my money's worth out of it in this month, haven't I? Let's be honest. It's a great camera. The thing that it does as well, I can't show you guys now. I think it'd mess my video up. But the screen can either go portrait or landscape, which means I can record mobile content on this, or I can record YouTube content on this, just by turning the screen. And as you guys already know, I can turn it that way or I can face it towards me. Just really simple to use. DJI are killing it. Like, I don't know if they've made a bad product. Their microphones are good, their drones are good. They've just bought out a powerhouse, which is like a cool box sized kind of battery. Their demo for it, they plugged in 2 dead laptops, MacBooks, charged them both up, and it only took like 6% of the battery of the thing up. And you're like, all right, that's pretty impressive. It's about 1,200 quid though. Do I think the team has sufficient options on the left side, wingers and wing backs? Always no, but we've got cover, I guess, because you do have the likes of Mazraoui that can fill in elsewhere, Delo can fill in elsewhere. You'd be okay. Thoughts on Pearl Harbor? What? The surprise attack by the Japanese which sparked America joining the Second World War, or the film starring the absolutely delicious Kate Beckinsale? Let's go with a film. I'm presuming you mean a film. Josh Hartnett, the big sexy bastard, just disappeared after that, didn't he? Rocks up, does Black Hawk Down, does a couple of other good films, steals a show anytime he turns up and goes, actually, Hollywood ain't for me. You got to respect that on multiple levels, I reckon. Why can't United players have the same fire in their eyes that Roy Keane had in the tunnel against Arsenal? Because Roy Keane was a unicorn, and he was unique. asking people to have the same fire that Roy Keane had is asking, like, why don't I win the Euro Millions every Friday? Someone's gonna, but it probably ain't gonna be you. How Wrexham and Birmingham owners are buying success, is it harming EFL football? I don't know what the FFP regulations are in the EFL deeply enough to know, but I'm pretty sure that they have to make the club sustainable before they can spend any of the money that they're spending, right? So they've increased sponsorships and things like that. They've increased crowds. They've invested into infrastructure. I know Wrexham are building a new stand. Is it harmful to EFL football? Probably not, right? Because everyone is doing the same thing. Birmingham might be a different story. But by and large, everyone is doing the same thing. Most clubs are spending far too high a percentage of their revenue on wages. Far too high a percentage of their revenue on wages. So, if Wrexham are doing it in a manner where they're increasing our fan base, they're growing their infrastructure, they're investing into their academy, and they're getting more sponsors, how is what they're doing harmful to teams that are just existing but also spending that sort of money? And I think what Wrexham did, to a greater or lesser extent what Salford have done, hashtag FC United, I think all of the teams that have existed in non-league, what they're doing, what they've done, is shone a light down on non-league, and non-league is thriving. You know, there's teams in non-league that are getting 10, 12,000 fans watching them, which is mental. And on that front, so we lost yesterday, first time of the season. I'm still gutted, I'm still annoyed. Why did we lose? We had too many individuals that didn't perform to the level that we expected. We probably deserved a point. We definitely didn't deserve to win. We probably had the chances to win, but we didn't deserve to win. You know, there's a difference there, isn't there? Like, you can have the chances and not have deserved it. I think opposition came with a game plan. They executed it quite well, and we just did not. We were sloppy. We were sloppy with possession. We didn't defend that badly, really. They didn't have many shots. They didn't have many chances, but they took the ones that they did, and we didn't. So, but you know, they only lost twice or something this season. They'll be in and around the top teams. They'll take loads of points off teams. You know, we've got to take our medicine and go again next week. But so, if we manage to promote this season, we would have to put an application in before Christmas if we were thinking we were going to finish in the top half of the Premier Division, because that's when you have to apply to go into North West Counties. North West Counties is what most people would call the semi-pro non-league football. So we almost have to start work now in Division 1, 7-8 games into Division 1, if we're thinking about putting an application in to go into the North West Counties next season. Now, we have a multiple year agreement with our ground share at Hyde. I think that would need extending to 10 years, because I think that's the term that you have to have when you apply. So we would have to get that in writing from Hyde, that we would have an agreement in place for a ground, because you can't apply, get in and be like, we ain't got anywhere to play, lads, can we play at school? No, because at that level there has to be a certain expectation of facilities. We would have to do some research into what is required in terms of refreshments and things that you have to provide for opposition directors, for referees, what the cost of referees and linesmen is at that level, what the entry fees for the competition are, and factor all of that in. What we'd also have to factor in, and this is the work that I did Wednesday, Thursday this week, just having a look, because I didn't know. Some clubs, thankfully, publish their budgets. So you can go and find budgets, and I'm just going to take them at face value and not take it that they've underdeclared and that they're paying people under the table, because that does happen. But I'm just going to take those budgets as face value, because I can't budget on, well, smoke and mirrors, can I? So I have to put a budget together. Now, to play in the Northern Premier League, Premier Division, that's where the likes of FC United and that hang out, Macclesfield and that are there. A pretty mid-table budget would be about £5,500 per week. And that's for a squad of between 16 and 18 players. So whatever that works out as. And that's going to get times by about 40 weeks. The level below, you're looking at £3,000, level below like £2,000, level below about £1,000. Now, Paddock runs probably at just under break even, because I have to kind of top it up every year, right? Probably just about at break even. So we really need to increase our sponsorships. We need to increase how many members we've got. We need to sell more shirts. We need to get some partnerships that we do on our social media or on our YouTube stuff. And we would really, really need to increase the membership to a level to sustain that. Now, I can try and factor in, you play at a higher level, you get more people through the gate. But the wages eats up quickly. And what I would have to do is, to be sustainable, you can't be spending 80-90% of your income on wages. You know, we also need to be putting things away for the future. We need to be building out places where the kids can play. And ultimately, all of this sinks and swims on whether or not we're able to get our own facility. We're able to get our own facility, we can control some stuff. So, like, if we get 10,000 down at Hyde, I mean, we couldn't, but let's presume that something happened and we did. I know fucking Beckham signs for us or something, we get 10,000 down. You get 10,000 down at Hyde, we might be able to take the gate, we might be able to do a deal with Hyde on the gate, but they're taking the bar, because it's their bar staff, it's their product, it's everything. So they're making a profit on the bar, they're making a profit on the canteen, you know, for the burgers and the fries and stuff. So to be profitable and successful, we need our own place, and we're spending six figures on training pitches and our match day pitches and stuff like that. You get your own facility, that goes away, that goes into the kitty. You can then increase your juniors to 50, 60 juniors, all using that same facility. That saves you money, but it also brings you money because now you're getting the subs from all of those teams. If the facility is nice and it's new, which, you know, if you got your own place, it would be new because you're not going to be taking over an existing one. You would also try and build out, you know, a nice bar or restaurant or cafe with a bit of a viewing area. So you got to think match day in your head is the number one usage of this facility, but no, it ain't, because for 5 hours a night, Monday to Friday, it's a training facility where little Timmy, little Johnny and Sally and all them lot are coming training 5 hours a night every single night, 25 hours a week, versus the 2 hours a week that the first team are going to play there and there's going to be a crowd there. So what you want to do is you want to plan your training facility, your stadium, where there is a nice environment for the parents that are going to come and watch you, because that's going to be the most use. You know, you make it like these breakout areas and good Wi-Fi, so people can come and do a little bit of work there where their kids are training, that there's a gym nearby, and then you increase the spend throughout the week and you're not just reliant on a match day for it to come in. But yeah, bottom line is, we're talking about the pro game there, what Wrexham and what Birmingham are doing. Non-league seems to throw a hell of a lot of money away on wages, trying to chase promotion after promotion after promotion, and just to exist at a middling Northern Prem level, you're talking $250,000 a year in wages. Where the fuck does that come from? Like, it is quite feasible we get promoted this season. We don't even need to win the league next year if we got promoted this year to be promoted and to reach my dream of being in the FA Cup. It could literally be 2 seasons away. But at that level, you got to start paying, or you're getting fucking over 30 in the league. So, you know, I have to start thinking about that stuff now, because you can't just get there and be like, oh shit, right, how are we going to afford this? You got to plan those things. What's my why? Don't know, just trying not to be a fucking loser, I think. What I'm doing with Paddock is a big why. Because, like I said, it costs me money. I don't make a fucking penny from a football team. So all of this that I'm doing kind of funnels into me being able to do that. Why? Because I selfishly want to be responsible for making the next fucking Kobbie Mainoo and Rashford and Paul Scholes. What are my thoughts on Chicharito at United? Quality. Movement every single striker could learn from. 2-3, changes of direction every single time he entered the box. Sensational. About to start an intense personal fitness challenge. Any tips? I would say don't do an intense. If it gets you out, then sweet, yeah, do it, I guess. But I would say doing something intense, maybe it's the fire that you need to get started, but I would always say maybe don't go for the intense, maybe go for the sustainable. I could go and do 500 press-ups today, right? Let's say I do 500 press-ups today. No, let's say 300 press-ups, right? 300 press-ups, just the maths is easier, right? Let's say I do 300 press-ups today. There is 100 press-ups in my mobility routine, right? 4 sets of 25, right? But let's say I did 300 and I cut my arms and I maybe strained something because my technique went to shit pretty quickly, and then I did 300 in a day, but actually now I've injured myself and I actually can't keep going, and I'm gonna have to take tomorrow off and the day off after. Maybe I need to take a week off. But if I'd have just done 100 a day for a week, I've actually done twice as many press-ups in a week. I don't know, I'm sure there's an analogy in there about, you know, the fucking tortoise and the hare or something like that. Slow and steady does win the race in the end. Being able to train more frequently, more often, at a lesser intensity is better than just trying to go intense. You go intense, and I am a fucking victim of this. I smash myself, get injured, so I'm trying to learn. I'm not saying I'm better or wiser, I'm just saying it's not a good move. But sometimes you get the vibe, don't you? Ever thought to visit Banff? Yeah, it looks beautiful. No plans to though. If I could do one thing different about my army career, what would it be and why? There'd probably be a few things I would do differently. But ultimately my army career was affected by the compartment syndrome that kept being misdiagnosed. I've got my medical records from the army somewhere, and I'm pretty sure there's 8 pages. That's just calf injury, calf injury, calf injury, calf injury, calf injury, calf injury, calf injury. Because it was never diagnosed as what it was. I think speaking to the physio that I spoke to earlier and actually being a bit more forceful with getting the help I needed for the compartment syndrome fix would have been the one thing. And yeah, I would have loved to have actually gone and tried to get into Pathfinder Platoon. Probably that. But I couldn't have done that with the calf problem that I had, and they didn't diagnose the calf problem, and it was only a few years ago that I actually got it sorted out. So what changes will my morning routine will I make in winter, if at all? So I've been trying to follow Andrew Huberman's sort of morning routine, which is I don't have caffeine for 90 minutes. This wind might be bad, hang on. I don't have caffeine for 90 minutes in the morning, or try not to have caffeine for 90 minutes, first 90 minutes in the morning. And let me cross over actually. Might be better on this side of the road, might not be. Yeah, try to not have caffeine for the first 90 minutes in the morning. Try to get sunlight in my eyes as early as possible. Try to wake up early. Try to get some movement in first thing. All of those make it easier to fall asleep later at night, which means that you actually do get quality sleep when you eventually do go to sleep. Try to have good sleep hygiene. So I've been doing the morning routine thing of sunlight in my eyes while I've been doing my mobility in my garden, even if the weather's bad. What we've not had, because I've only been doing these walks every day since spring, what I've not had is like snow, really horrendous weather, really cold. I've not had those on my morning walks yet, and obviously as we do these videos that's going to get fucking hilarious, isn't it? So what I used to do was I would stand in the garden even if it was raining. I would just put a hat on, and if I do my mobility, that 10 minutes of like calf stretches, ankle rotations, calf raises, shit like that, I would do that in the garden for 10 minutes just to get the sunlight in my eyes, and then I would get in the car and go to the gym. Whereas now I'm walking to the gym no matter what. It's pleasant when it's a grey sky and it's pretty mild and I can wear shorts. Everyone's a fucking winner, right? So I don't know, I guess we'll find out, won't we? Pretty soon, I imagine, as well, because October generally gets a fucking serious kick in the bollocks with the temperature dropping, usually, doesn't it? October gets gnarly. Where is it I go for the walks? Various places. I do try and mix it up. There's a few spots that I do. Went to my first Paddock game today. Any tips for meeting people in Mank? I would say that's a great way. We've got like probably a dozen regulars who are all dead friendly, and I think if you just start chatting to them, that's a good way to build a bit of a social routine, isn't it? Either just come to the homes or start chatting to them and be like, is anyone going to the away games? Can I jump in with anyone? They'll say yes. And if you become a member, you get access to the Telegram group. You can literally just drop a message in the Telegram group and be like, I'm new to the area, wouldn't mind going Winsford away next week. Is there a space in anyone's car? I would bet money someone would say, I'll take you. Any more Paddock kits on sale soon? So we told you it was going to be a 1 week pre-order. It was a 1 week pre-order. Now what we will do is, I don't know the formula or the algorithm Janine uses, but Janine will order a number of kits. It's usually based on what we've sold previous seasons, in the sizes that we've usually sold it in previous seasons. So the pre-order has gone in a couple of weeks ago, I think. And on top of the pre-order, she will have ordered a number of shirts. Like I was saying earlier, the club don't make profit, so if we order shirts that don't sell, we've just lost that money. So we have to be really, really careful with what we order. So she'll have ordered a number of shirts. They will all be, I think they take 5 or 6 weeks to come. So I imagine 4 or 5 weeks, 3-4 weeks, something like that, is when they'll start to be delivered. Once they arrive with us at the office, we will post out all the ones for the people who've bought one on the pre-order, and then what's left over will go on general sale. Every shirt we've ever had sells out. We aren't at the stage where we can afford to be luxurious and just order 1,000 shirts in every size on the off chance. We run too lean for that. So next time there's a pre-order, fucking get yourself on it. That's the only way to guarantee you'll get a shirt, because they do sell out. How would I fix rugby league? Ay, fucking hell, stop messing about with it for starters. That's a long video. It start with fucking sorting Salford out, on it. Oh my god. Which winger do I prefer, Giggs or Beckham, and why? One, it doesn't matter, because United had both, and I quite like having an asymmetric threat. I think having one that's going to deliver crosses into the box and one that's going to drive into the box was a brilliant threat for United and gave us multiple tools of attack. I think if everything's the same, an opposition defence can read you and get into it. Will Heads Gone come back? Ash wants to do it. but he's moved, so I don't know how feasible that's going to be. He's talking about doing it remotely on Zoom, seeing as though we're now doing me, Rio and Joel on Zoom, so he's talking about doing that, but I think we'd miss so many jokes if we did that on Zoom. Anyway, time for me to get in the gym. Have a good day, everyone. Stack the wins. 1% better today. I will be live at 9 o'clock with Late Night Live. Come and join me. We'll talk some shit. See you in a bit.